And now more from Christine Feehan herself. Here the author talks about her popular Carpathian novels, including the latest installment, Dark Slayer.
The Carpathians are a species of people who are nearly immortal. They have longevity. They've been on the earth for thousands of years. The males lose their emotions after 200 years if they don't find the other half, which is the woman, the light. They're darkness, the woman is light. They can turn vampire, that's where vampires come from. Once they turn vampire, they have to be killed because they will hurt everybody. So the Carpathians end up hunting their own friends and sometimes family if they've turned vampire. The women have died out or are dying out, and there are no children, and they have to find those answers. A male will turn vampire because if they take someone's blood and kill that person, it produces a rush of feeling, and they are searching for women who can obviously be their other half to keep this from happening. At the time that I conceived the Carpathians, nobody was doing vampires anymore, at least not in romance. And no publishing house was even looking at anything that had to do with vampires. I have always sort of had an interest in the supernatural and vampires and witches and all kinds of things, and I've studied them for years. At the time that I decided to write about them, I'd always written contemporaries, mostly mysteries and suspense. And I had a terrible tragedy in my family, and I was not able to write. I lost my son. It was a very difficult time. I, of course, got up and took care of all the other kids and did everything, but not only could I not function very well, but I couldn't write. And that's sort of part of me, like breathing. And it was like I'd lost myself. So eventually I realized I had to do something about it, and the only way back was through my writing. And I created this group of people who felt no emotion, and they had no color in their lives, because that's the way I felt, as if there was no color anymore. And it was a very difficult experience, but I created the world, and it took off. And there's a lot of people out there who've lost things, important things and people in their lives, and I think it touched them. It was all about family. It was all about women being important. Of course, in martial arts, I worked with battered women and children. I took in a lot of abused children. So those things were all incorporated into the books, how important children were, how important women were, and what a relationship was. And then I just had this species of people that were Carpathians, and added the vampires for them to turn into if they didn't find that one woman, and it worked. I started out knowing that I was going to write an entire history and culture for them and a language for them. And so over the course of 17, 18 books now, that slowly was threaded into every story. I started right from the very beginning giving little clues. It's like a big tapestry that I wove with an arc of the actual people and their problems along with each couple. And as my readers continued down the road with me, I was able to develop it more and more to where I wanted it to go. Dark Slayer is about two very broken people. Ivory Malinoff, who was attacked and betrayed. The vampires chopped her up in little pieces and threw her across a meadow. Everyone believes that she is dead. She survived it. The hero of the story is Razvan, the most hated, feared, despised Carpathian of all times. They believe him to be a traitor, and the two of them end up together, and they are the ones who will find the answers for the Carpathian people about why the women can't have children, what is killing their babies, and they also go after the main villain, who has been destroying the Carpathian people. They're the ones who end up fighting him.